I want to get into a bit more into the surgery you're doing there, Nick, because
Oh, God, then.
well, some of the stuff I saw was you're talking about surfer's ear.
Oh, yeah. Now that's an interesting one. The ear canal is the only place in the body where skin sits directly on bone,
Right.
and there seems to be an odd reaction when you get immersed in cold water that makes you make more bone. And if you surf, windsurf, open water swim in cold water, you get these little bony growths in the ear canal that can almost completely close off your ear canal. And some people have done some quite fun research to look at why and how it happens. It's very much down to repeated immersion. So if you're in the water for a long time, you don't get them. Divers don't tend to get them. And it seems to be down to cooling. So if you look at the surfers on the west coast of the States, as we know, surfers spend most of the time sitting on their board looking out to sea, waiting for the next wave.
Yeah.
And in the States, there's a prevailing northerly wind in the winter. And if you look at the surfers out there, they have twice as many extrastases in their right ear as they do in their left ear. And it's the cold wind blowing in their right ear that gives them bad extrastases in their right ear.
So if these guys really got into it and actually put earphones in to listen to the Bee Gees or the latest West Coast surfer sound, then they probably wouldn't suffer from problems.
Probably not. They might ruin the earphones, but they would probably. No, they do actually wear earplugs now, and the recommendation is to wear earplugs. And in fact, there's some quite funky little ones. They've got a little Gore-Tex membrane down the middle, so you can still hear the wave coming. You can still hear people shouting, "Get off my wave!"
I've seen those. They work, do they? They help.
They work really well.
Oh, right.
They work really well.
So I figure in that case, then I'm going to share my screen with you. You wouldn't recommend this, then?
Oh, no.
For those at home that can't actually see this, I'm showing a picture of a surfer captured a couple of years ago in the Arctic Circle, and he is catching a wave and surfing aggressively under the moonlight, but also lit by the aurora borealis, the northern lights, shining down on a snow-capped peak. So you wouldn't recommend that, then?
Well, he'd probably be all right, because it's probably so cold. He'd only been there for about 5 minutes. So he'd probably get away with it, because it's actually down to sort of repeated immersion and duration. So he'd probably be all right.
Oh, okay.
And actually, interestingly, one of the things they say is that the reason people get them now is because of wetsuits. Because in the old days, you couldn't stay in the water very long, so you didn't get extrastases. But now you can stay in the water longer.
Right.
You get extrastases because you've got decent wetsuits. But they've used them for all sorts. They've used them for anthropology. Because it's not just surfers that get them. And if you look at skulls from burials, you can work out what people did and how they got their food. Because, in 3,000 years BC, if you wanted to get fish, you had to go in the water and get your fish. You didn't have a boat or a net or a carbon fishing rod. So you can tell what was happening in communities and whether they were fishing. And you can even look at sociology with it. If you look at some Roman burials from different parts of Italy, you can work out the social structure. Because if you see that was obviously a rich burial, in some towns, in the rich burials, the skulls don't have extrastases, and in the poorer burials they do, implying it's a fairly hierarchical structure, and the richer people did what you expect rich Romans to do, and sit around feeding each other grapes.
And orgies.
And orgies, obviously, and orgies. Yeah. Whereas in some of the burials, even the rich burials have got extrastases, so even the rich people went fishing, and it was thought to be a flatter, less hierarchical structure. So you can even use it for sort of anthropological sociology, which is about the only thing in ENT that you can, to be fair.